All right, so next lesson is going to be drawing or figuring out what's called the reference angle. Now, the way I've done for this trig chapter is every day is basically just kind of build upon the day before. So it's basically going to be an added step from what we did the day before. So we're finding reference angles today. And let me show you what a reference angle looks like. So I have here an angle that's already drawn for you. So I think if I had to estimate it, how many degrees this would be, well, this would be 90 right here. Remember, you always start on 0 on the right side. The quarter turn is 90. On the left side would be 180. And 3/4 of a turn would be 270. And a full rotation is 360. So if I had to kind of ballpark how many degrees this would be, I'd say maybe like 250. All right, so here's how you find what's called the reference angle. The reference angle is whatever it takes to get to the x-axis. Here's the x-axis, but it also spans all the way across, right? So to get to the x-axis, I could go do one of two ways. I could either go backwards in this direction to give me back to the x-axis, or I could go in the other direction and that would also take me to the x-axis. But only one of these is what's called the reference angle. The way you know which one is these rules here. The reference angle must be less than 90 degrees. So if the reference angle has to be less than 90 degrees, out of these two, which one looks like it's less than 90? Exactly. It can't be the red one because it's way past the quarter turn. It has to be the blue one. So this one in blue is what's called the reference angle. And then, so today we're going to be figuring out how many degrees that reference angle is, which in this case would be 70, but I'll show you how to find it with an example. So that's what we're going to be doing today, finding the reference angle. Starting with the first one is 150 degrees. Let me write in the degrees for you guys since you're still learning them. All right, so starting at 0, always on the right side, quarter turn 90, half turn 180, 270, 360, ends back at 0. 150 degrees is what we're drawing for this one. So figuring out where the 150 degrees is going to fall, it's going to be between the 90 and 180. Which one is it going to be closer to? Well, 150 degrees is closer to the 180. So when you draw your angle, make sure that it's somewhat closer to the 180. So there's a 150 degree angle. The reference angle is going to be getting to the x-axis, and the easiest way to get to the x-axis, well, not easiest way, the only way to get to the x-axis that's less than 90 degrees would be going down this way. Now, I like to shade the reference angle in, but you don't really need to. That's just something I do, just to kind of visualize it. So that I did in red is the reference angle. Now we just need to figure out how many degrees it is. Well, the one that I drew here is 150 degrees, and the reference angle was how many degrees it goes from the one that I drew to the 180. So how many degrees is that one then? The reference angle has to be 30 degrees because 150 plus a 30 gets you to 180. So you would write that the reference angle is equal to 30 degrees. Just keep in mind the rules. Has to be less than 90, and no matter what, it's always positive. All right, The next one is 280 degrees. So again, just for now, I'm going to write in, this is 0, 90, 180, 270, and full rotation's 360. 280 degrees is what we're drawing. Therefore, it should be closer to the 270 than it is to the 360. So it should be somewhere over here. All right, and then remember, it's always to the x-axis, never to the y-axis. So I always see people say that the reference angle is this, but that's not true because, again, it's always to the x-axis. So the reference angle is this right here. Now we just need to figure out how many degrees that is. Well, we're at 280, right? That's what we drew, was a 280 degree angle. And to get to the x-axis, we're getting to 360 degrees, the full rotation. So if we're at 280, how many degrees does it take to get to 360? Well, that's going to be 80 degrees. 360 minus 280. So you would say that the reference angle is equal to 80 degrees. Again, no matter what, it's always positive and it must be less than 90. 450 degrees. So that's going to be more than a full rotation, right? So here's 0, 180 is a half turn, back to 360, or one full rotation is 360. So we know it's going to be more than one full rotation. So you're going to go all the way around at least once. And then how many more degrees do you have to go past 360 to get to 450? Well, you got to go 90 more degrees. So then this is where the angle is going to be drawn. And it looks like this angle is just going to go straight up. Now we just need to find the reference angle. Just remember, it's always how you get to the x-axis. Now there's two ways to get to the x-axis from here. You could keep rotating in this direction, so to get to the 180. How many degrees would that be? Well, that would be, what, 90 degrees? Because you're at 90 and you're going to 180. The other way to get to the x-axis would be to go backwards, back to the 0. How many degrees would it be then if you're going from 90 back to 0? It would still be 90 degrees. So in this particular case, the reference angle is going to be the same no matter which side you use. The reference angle is going to be 90 degrees. All right, so that's what it looks like for positive angles. Now let's do a couple negative ones and then we'll be done. So negative degrees, again, let me just write in 0. This one's going to rotate in the opposite direction when it's negative. So negative 90, negative 180, negative 270. Did my voice just crack? That's great. Basically 12 years old. All right, so starting at 0 and rotating clockwise because it's negative. So 130 degrees would be somewhere between 90 and 180, kind of in the middle. 135 would be directly in the middle between the two. So this is negative 130 that I just drew here. So I'll write that down just as kind of a visual. And then you're always going to the x-axis. So to get to the x-axis would have to be this way, because if we went backwards, we can't go to here because that would be not to the x-axis, that's to the y. And then if you actually kept going all the way here, that would be more than 90 degrees. So that's why you can't do that. So it has to be this way. Again, I like to shade it in, but you don't need to. So how many degrees is that? Well, we stopped at 130. We're going all the way to 180, so it has to be 50 degrees. And it doesn't matter that the degrees that we drew were negative. No matter what, the reference angle is always positive. Like me, always a positive person. So negative 320. Well, this is 0, negative 90, negative 180, negative 270, negative 360. So it looks like it's going to be somewhere in the range on the top right in quadrant 1. So 320 is going to be pretty much in the middle. I think it's a little closer to 360. I think the direct middle would be 315 degrees. But anyway, so here's the angle that I drew. Now I just need to find the reference angle. So again, where's the easiest way to the x-axis? It has to be this way. And so how many degrees is that? Well, we drew a negative 320. So this is 320 degrees. To get to the 360 would be another 40 degrees more. So again, always positive. So reference angle is equal to 40 degrees. All right. So that's all the possible examples of what this would look like. I don't feel like doing another example. If you want one, you can make up your own. So here's your homework. Make sure that you draw this out with the graphs, each one individual, and that you're finding the reference angle this time. As always, let me know if you have any issues.